because if we want to talk about Marvel versus DC, I think this is a really good conversation to have. So let's have it. What up, y'all? It's your girl Naya Athena, and today is Monday. That means it's another movie review Monday. Today, we are going to be talking about DC versus Marvel because I saw Blue Beetle in theaters the other day, and I guess we're going to talk about it, you know? I mean, I really don't really have much to say about Blue Beetle itself, which is why I'm bringing in the conversation of DC versus Marvel, because at the end of the day, like, y'all gonna see. Y'all gonna see. Anyways, let's get started. So, I'm gonna read you guys the cause what made me even want to see Blue Beetle was the trailer, right? I'm like, oh, you know, superhero, but it's not Marvel. So I'm like, cool, like I'll give it a chance because I am a Marvel girl, but you know, it's nice to see other people doing what Marvel is doing, right? I suppose. So I'm gonna read y'all the synopsis and we're gonna go from there. So the synopsis reads, Jamie Rees suddenly finds himself in possession of an ancient relic of alien biotechnology called the Scarab. When the Scarab chooses Jamie to be its symbiotic host, he's bestowed with an incredible suit of armor that's capable of extraordinary and unpredictable powers, forever changing his destiny as he becomes the superhero Blue Beetle. Okay? Rotten Tomatoes gave it a 78%. IMDb gave it a 6.7 out of 10. Honestly, Rotten Tomatoes, I don't know what Rotten Tomatoes be on. I don't know who's in charge of that, but they don't be rating stuff. I don't know if they actually really watch the movies before they rate stuff. IMDb, 6.7 out of 10. I think that's a pretty decent rating. I probably have to agree with that rating. Just for the simple fact that, like, and mind you, like, when I went to see this movie, I was very, you know, I'm not going to say I had high expectations, but I'm like, okay, like, it looks good. You know what I'm saying? Like, it looks good. So, I'm not going to sit up here and act like the movie wasn't predictable. Like, I'm not, like, because even with, like, everything going on in Hollywood, I know I keep talking about it, but it's happening. And I'm going to keep talking about it till it's not happening no more. But even with everything going on in Hollywood, it seems like whenever they find something that works and that sells in the box office, it seems like after that, like, they just keep running it. So, like, right now, I was just saying how I feel like Disney Plus and, like, Marvel and all of them, I feel like they're all in cahoots and they all have these marketing strategies that they do every so often. So, like, when The Princess and the Frog came out, they was on their black people stuff. But now they're on their Hispanic stuff. So, like, they have a lot of Hispanic superheroes they add in, and you know, they made Spider-Man Hispanic and black. I mean, he's black, but he's Hispanic. Like, it seems like that's the wave right now for them. It's the Hispanic wave. And honestly, like, I'm over it. Like, I just wish that we could just not have that. Like, I wish that instead of being like, all right, let's make the next 6 movies Hispanic people so that they don't say nothing, why don't y'all just make a good movie? Like, why do it always got to be about race? You know what I'm saying? But it's obvious to me that it is about race and, like, representation, which I can understand to an extent, but it's like, sometimes I feel like Disney and them, like, I feel like they just do stuff just so they don't gotta hear nobody's mouth, and they don't really do stuff because they are feeling creative or whatever, like, or they got a good idea that's gonna really, you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like they just do stuff for the consumers, which I can understand to a certain point, but I don't know, maybe I need to watch more, like, small short films and stuff made by, like, real people, because these corporations, they so, like, calculated, and it's kind of getting old. Like, I'm over it. But I'm not gonna sit up here and act like they don't have no good, like, stuff. Like, it's good, but it's just like, why do you feel the need to keep doing this? So, honestly, when we talk about Blue Beetle, I feel like they kind of took a page out of Marvel's book of what they're doing right now, because, you know, Marvel been pushing out the movies. Marvel stay on it. So they've been pushing out the movies, and so I feel like they took a page out their book, and now this is like another Hispanic you know, superhero of sorts, right? But DC version, right? So it's so funny because when I was watching this movie, I'm like, when did it start? Because I'm waiting on the Marvel intro. Child, is DC. You know you watch too much Marvel when you don't even realize that it's not a Marvel movie. Like, you want it to be, you think it is, but it's not. So I'm like, okay, cool. That's cool. So, this takes place in, they said they were in Guatemala, which is pretty cool. I mean, it's a different Hispanic. At least it ain't Mexico or something, because, they love to use Mexico and all that. But they're in Guatemala, and the main character is coming back from college, and he's, like, just seeing his family again, and they telling him all the stuff they're going through that they didn't want to tell him while he was in college, because he just graduated. And, obviously in the synopsis it says he comes across, alien technology that chooses him to be the host. Immediately upon watching this, I'm thinking of Venom. I'm thinking of Batman. I'm thinking of Spider-Man. I'm thinking of... What else did I say it reminded me of? I think that's it. I think, like, I could think at least of, like, 3 superheroes off rip that have similar stories, right, to this one. So, like, I'm like, okay, this is pretty stereotypical. Now, that's not to say, this is my thing, because everybody's like, isn't that what a superhero is? Like, no. Because when you think of the OG superheroes, everybody has that thing that sets them apart, right? Superman, he from a different planet. His weakness is kryptonite. He in disguise. Don't know other, like Superman did that. That was his OG thing. Batman, he's rich, he's smart, he's fighting crime in a city that's full of crime. You know what I'm saying? Spider-Man, he gets bit by a radioactive spider. He protecting New York. You know what I'm saying? So like every OG superhero has their own like unique origin story, right? Granted, they all have a like basis. Like, of course, every superhero is traumatized at some point, because that's like part of the blueprint of an origin story for a superhero. However, with this one, I feel like it was just kind of stereotypical, because it wasn't nothing new. Like, it wasn't nothing fresh that we haven't heard of already. I understand like what they like. It just seemed like they was like, all right, let's do what Marvel doing. You know what I'm saying? I ain't mad at it, because like I said, I love Marvel. I eat Marvel up. But I was expecting something a little different. At least, like, even if it was just like a small detail that made it different, I was expecting that, because it's like, I've seen this 100,000 times. Like, you know what I'm saying? So at that point, once they got into the movie, I'm like, okay, this is predictable, because I could already see which characters was going to end up making which decisions and how it was going to happen. Like, I literally was predicting the whole movie, like, in the first 30 minutes, not even the first 25 minutes, not 25, child, the first 20 minutes of the film. Like, as soon as they showed, because it was about, like, basically the antagonist of the story was an old white lady who took over a company that really she had no business taking over, I guess. Well, I guess technically she did have business taking it over, but it wasn't for hers to take, because it was handed to her son, I think, who died or something. And so the daughter was trying to, like, I really didn't understand that dynamic, because it's like the daughter didn't like her, but the what is she, like a grandma to her or something, an aunt or something to her? It's not like they was trying to destroy each other until the very end. Like, yeah, it seemed more like a like rebellious teen dynamic, but it was also like not. It was weird. Like, I didn't understand. And then like the daughter character, who was like the love interest to Blue Beetle or whatever, also I feel like she was not very a solid character, because in the beginning it seemed like she was like badass, like, okay, I'm about this, like, I'll do this. And then like into the movie she was acting more like soft. So I'm just like, girl, what is you? Like, what is your character right now? Because I'm not understanding. Like, are they just... I feel like she was kind of just there to serve the purpose of the love interest. Because it really didn't make sense to me how... Like, I didn't see any, like, solid character traits of hers that I could, like about her, for real. Like, she was just there. But, I mean, I did like the idea of, like, the family. But, like I said, that's predictable, too. Like, one of the lines was literally like, oh... your family is what makes you weak. And then later on in the movie, no, my family is what makes me strong. Okay, like, we know. Like, it was cool, it was cute. Like, but, okay. Like, it was cool. Like, I liked it, but I was just like, alright, well, this is nothing new. Like, I seen all of this coming. Granted, like, the plot was good, the writing was okay, but it didn't really like be like ooh, but if you watch any superhero movie, because even DC did like the thing at the end of the credits, which is what Marvel always does. Maybe that's just a superhero thing. I don't know. But at the end of the credits, like, you could tell it's gonna be a second movie. So I even said, like, I actually am looking forward to the second movie because I want the second movie to be new and fresh. Because this was like, usually the first movie, not usually, but with some of these superhero movies, it's usually like the intro movie don't really be all that good, but sometimes it gets better. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like Blue Beetle is one of those movies that's going to get better because now you know the mediocre origin story. The mediocre origin story. So it's like, okay, like, maybe they'll actually have a non-predictable plot in the second movie, because that one was very predictable. I was just like, okay, like, I kind of saw this coming, but it was cool, like, because, like, even they said in the film, which is kind of like breaking the fourth wall, if you ask me, because all the superheroes should be in their own universes, but I guess in the movie that he had mentioned, like, when they were going through, like, all the equipment of Blue Beetle and stuff that was created, he was like, oh, this is like Batman, but on ADHD. And I'm like, you know what? Like, I wouldn't be mad. Like, I'm not mad at that. Like, because it's still different. Like, on ADHD, like, that's a unique part of the superhero. Because even, like, it even gave me a little bit of Iron Man vibes. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was just so many superheroes that it reminded me of that I was just like, I mean, okay, like, but what sets you apart? You know what I'm saying? Because even with Marvel, Marvel has a lot of superheroes. Like, I just seen a trailer for Captain Marvel, and or the Captain, or like Marvels or whatever, because you know it's the Captain Marvel, and then it's the little girl, another Hispanic girl who got the same or similar powers to Captain Marvel or whatever. Even that is different than like all the other, like, they literally have so many superheroes, and all of these superheroes have unique things. Like, Guardians of the Galaxy, you're not gonna find that nowhere else. Like, even, I mean, like, even Spider-Man, as much as they keep trying to add to Spider-Man, Spider-Man always is gonna be Spider-Man. Nobody is like Spider-Man. Yes, he got bit by a spider, and, you know, usually people like to do that with, like, other insects, like, you know, Ant-Man or stuff. But not even Ant-Man, because Ant-Man didn't become Ant-Man by getting bit by an ant. You know what I'm saying? Like, everything is different. Like, it's not, like, super duper, like, oh, okay, that's obvious. Like, you know what I'm saying? So, I feel like with this first movie, it was cool. It was nice. It was decent. Would I watch it again? Probably not. Because the first time I watched it, I kind of knew what was going to happen. But I am looking forward to the second movie because, I don't know, I just feel like maybe the second movie, they'll be paying the writers. And maybe the writers will, you know, do something else, do something fresh. Because if it's about the same stuff, if it's about family and stuff, I'm going to be irritated. Because it's just like, okay. Like, I mean, it was cool. Like, it was cool to see the whole family fighting. I ain't going to lie. Like, I like the grandma and I like the sister. I like all of them, actually. Because, you know, they had George Lopez in there. So I like the whole family characteristics. I liked all of them, but maybe we see more of them. Maybe they become like a family of superheroes or something, like some Incredibles type, you know, stuff. But I don't know. Like, I feel like it was just predictable. And if you really are interested in seeing it, like, if you like superheroes, I would say go see it. But like, I wasn't super like, oh my god, it was so amazing, because it was predictable. Like, I've literally seen everything coming. I was like, he gonna betray her, he gonna do this, he probably, his backstory, like, I literally was guessing people's backstories, and I was right. So, I don't know, it kind of just dragged, but it was cool. Like, it wasn't terrible. I think DC is really, like, trying to get on the same level as Marvel, so I feel like they kind of catching up a little bit. And I mean, this was a good little intro, but they should have did this like 10 years ago. You know what I'm saying? Like, Blue Beetle could have been a thing, you know, and they could have been on to the next. But, you know, maybe DC is turning a new page and they want to try to get up there with Marvel, and I don't know. But I think Blue Beetle is a cool superhero for sure. Like, he got some cool, you know, gadgets. Like, because it's technically a part of him. That's why I say it remind me of Venom, because he's technically a host. But he's, like, cool. Like, he be talking to his, the scarab in his head. So that's, like, that reminded me of Venom a lot. And I think it's pretty cool. Like, it's cool, but anything DC does at this point, I feel like Marvel already did. So they definitely have a lot to live up to. They have a lot of high expectations. Hopefully the next one is less like anything else I've ever seen, because if it reminds me of something else, that's all I'm going to be able to think about the whole movie. Like, literally. So I would say if you really, really like just want to see it just to keep up with the franchise that they're clearly about to create around this, I would say go see it. But would I suggest going to the theater to see it? Nah, you might as well just wait till it go on streaming platforms, if it go on streaming platforms, because it really was not that deep. Like, it wasn't that deep. But that is my movie review on Blue Beetle, Marvel versus DC. At the end of the day, like, I love Marvel and I love DC. I love superheroes, period. So hopefully, DC can do something different. Like, I wouldn't be mad, like, because I ain't gonna lie, the visuals was crazy. Like, the way that they fight scenes was, like, filmed was amazing. Like, I actually loved it. That's one part of the movie I did love. I loved the scenes and how they were filmed, and, like, the stuff that they captured. They did a really good job as far as the camera crew and stuff like that, and the effects and stuff like that. But I just hope that they don't follow in Marvel's footsteps, because Marvel is too far ahead. Marvel then destroyed the universe, came back. You know what I'm saying? Like, Marvel is like, their storylines are ongoing, forever ongoing. So DC, I don't think you should do the same thing that Marvel's doing. I think you should try to do your own thing, be creative, make up your own plots, and still give it the superhero vibe, but, like, be different, be unique, be new, be fresh. Like, be a well-paid writer. Pay your writers at the end of the day. That's the I'm gonna keep saying it till they do, because at this point, I'm not about to keep spending my money on movies that are okay. Like, if I'm gonna go to the theater, I'm gonna see something that's good, that's worth going to the theater and paying money for. Like, I'm not about to just be like, oh, it's cool. Nah. Like, in this economy, But yeah, that was my movie review. Hope you guys liked it. If you do like superhero movies and Marvel and DC and all of that, I think y'all should tell me in the comments, what do you prefer, Marvel or DC? Or just, like, the pros and cons of each one. Like, which superheroes y'all favorite on each side and stuff. Like, I remember, like, playing Mortal Kombat as a kid, and they had DC versus not DC versus Marvel, but it was DC versus, like, the Mortal Kombat universe, which was super dope. Like, they need to do another game like that for real. Or, like, Injustice or something like that. So, hopefully y'all enjoyed this. And I will see y'all in the next one. Don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend. And that's all, folks. Peace.